Good morning, students. How are you all? Today we are going to learn in geography the third chapter, exogenetic process, part 1. In the previous chapter, we have learned about or heard about the endogenetic process. In that we have gone through the earthquake and volcanoes. Now here we are going to learn about the exogenetic processes. That is the external factors which bring about changes. Okay. Many landforms are formed due to the internal movements. Many processes occurring on the Earth's surface also lead to the formation of degradation of landforms continuously. In this lesson, we will be studying the exogenetic external processes and the landforms formed by them. In the previous chapter, in the endogenetic process, we have learned the internal process or the internal movements. Now it is the external movements. Okay, external processes occur because of the forces working on the Earth's surface. They are mainly solar energy, gravitational force, and kinetic energy associated with the moving objects on the Earth's surface. Landforms formed on the Earth's surface as a result of internal movements are called primary and secondary landforms. For example, continents, mountains, plateaus, plains, etc. Because of the external processes like weathering, erosion, transportation, and deposition, the primary and secondary landforms give way to the tertiary landforms. For example, valleys, sand dunes, delta, U-shaped valleys, etc. See the given pictures, observe the physical appearance of the rocks in each picture. You can see that rocks are broken, fractured, and have holes in them. In a picture, you can also see that the statue has been deformed. Why are the rocks in such a condition? Think about them and briefly tell the reasons you can think of. Discuss the reasons, check with the teachers if your reasons are relevant. Now you can see in the picture that the rocks are cracked. Why are the rocks cracked? Think for a while and let me know. Okay, the reason is breaking or weakening of rocks is a natural phenomenon. It is called weathering. Weathering can be of three types, that is mechanical, physical, chemical, and biological. In arid climates, mechanical weathering is dominant, while in humid climates, chemical weathering is more effective. Biological weathering occurs because of living organisms. So today we'll learn about the first type of weathering, that is the mechanical weathering. Okay, for mechanical weathering, if you have an onion with you, okay, cut it in the middle, observe the cut parts, try to remove each skin layer of these parts, okay. You will notice that just as we can remove each and every outer layer of the onion, similarly in nature rocks undergo such a process. The exposed part of the rock heats more while the inner part is comparatively cooler. As a result, the outer layer of the rocks fall apart from the main rock. This is called exfoliation of the rock. What happens? The outer part of the rock gets heated fast, and as a result it gives way and it falls, whereas the inner part of the rock is still cool. Mechanical weathering mainly occurs because of the following reasons. Now, what are the reasons for the mechanical weathering? You can see for the exfoliation how the rocks are cracked. No, temperature is a cause for that. Frost, crystal growth, release of pressure and water. Now, one by one we shall see. Temperature. What temperature has to do with that? The mineral in the rocks expand because of heat and contract with temperature decreases. Okay, the mineral in the rock expand because of heat and contract when temperature decreases. Due to such continuous contracting and expanding, tension develops in the rock particles. Each mineral reacts differently to the temperature. Some minerals expand more while others do not expand as such. Consequently, the tension formed in the rocks also increases and decreases. As a result, cracks develop in the rocks and they break. In areas where the diurnal range of temperature is higher, weathering of this type is common in the hot deserts. Now, see, because of hot, expansion, contraction. What happens? It gets increases, decreases, so it becomes loose. And different minerals are there in the rock, so different minerals react differently to the temperature, and as a result, some rocks cracks are formed, and then it starts falling out. Frost. Now, what is a frost? Okay, you know that the volume of the water increases when it freezes. In areas where the temperatures drop below 0 degrees Celsius for quite some time, the water accumulated in the cracks and crevices in the rocks freezes. Its volume increases. This leads to tension in the rocks and they shatter. Okay, frost, what happens? It freezes, then the volume increases, and as a result, the top temperature drops to 0 degree, and because of that, water is accumulated in the cracks and crevices, and the rocks freezes, so it breaks. Okay, crystal growth. In rocky coast, waves hit the sea cliff. The water is alkaline, means salty. Some water droplets hit the cracks in the rocks. In the alkaline water, the soluble material in the rock get dissolved. Okay, material in the rock gets dissolved with the water. This leads to formation of small holes in the rocks. This is the effect of solution. Alkaline water gets stored in these holes. Because of heat, this water turns into water vapor, and only crystals of alkaline materials remain in the rocks. Crystals occupy more space. This causes tension in the rock. Holes are formed in the rocks. It looks like a honeycomb. You can see in the picture, yeah, honeycombs type, the holes are there. Release of pressure. Next is the release of pressure. It is not that tension is created in the rocks only because of temperature, freezing of water, or crystallization. The outer layers of the rocks exert pressure on the inner or lower layers. When this pressure ceases to exist, the lower or the inner layers get freed from the pressure. This also leads to weathering. And the last one is water. Some areas experience more rainfall than others. In such areas, soaking of rock water also causes weathering of some rocks like sandstone, then conglomerate. Okay, these rocks are formed because of pressure on the agglomeration of sand particles. Mud also makes sand particles come together. When water penetrates such rocks, the particles get loose and separate from the main rock. This is called granular weathering. You can see the granular weathering, how the rocks will leaves into granules. Sometimes both temperature and water are responsible for weathering. Difference in temperature causes contraction and expansion, widening the joints or the cracks in the rocks. Water accumulates in such wide joints and big blocks of rocks separate from each other. This is called block disintegration. If you see in figure 3.1b, okay, block integration is there. You can see the whole blocks are made. So that is called block integration. So here we have finished the first part of weathering, that is the mechanical weathering. In the next class we shall see about the chemical weathering. Thank you.